Hello everybody, this is TipTop MTG here today with another Magic the Gathering video. In today's video, I'm going to be playing some Historic. And you might be asking, what color deck are you playing? What is the strategy? Actually, you're probably not asking that because it's kind of in the title, but I am playing a colorless deck based around the card Forsaken Monument. This awesome card really just cares about colorless things. It cares about colorless creatures, cares about colorless mana, and cares about when we cast colorless spells. So pretty much anything we're doing that's colorless is going to be boosted. So this deck essentially wants to ramp out with some kind of artifacts, and then it wants to play some value planeswalkers like Karn, who can access our sideboard and get a bunch of key pieces to kind of combat our opponent. And then it also runs things like Ugin, both of them. The one Ugin makes things cheaper, which is really awesome. The other Ugin kind of just wins the game, and in a colorless deck, his board wipe is one-sided. On top of that, like the little Ugin, the 6-cost one, creates 2/2s, which then get boosted by our Forsaken Monuments. Either way, it's a lot of fun, so why don't we jump right into playing the deck? Also, but actually, I guess we're not jumping right in. In the comments, in the description down below, you can find my deck list if you guys want to try this out. It's actually pretty good. I'm not saying it's going to be like the most competitive thing in the world, but it is definitely a fun deck to play. So why don't we go take a look? Alrighty, so our first hand here, it's okay. The double Mystic Forge and Ulamog isn't great, but the Mind Stone and Maze Mind Tome really make me want to do this. So yeah, I think that this is going to be fine. Double Mystic Forge isn't amazing because you're really playing Mystic Forge for its passive, and the passive doesn't stack, but you can, use the double tap ability. And then Ulamog's kind of just a dead card in our hand, so it's essentially as if we had scryed or mulligan down to 6. I would say we kind of started with 5.5 cards, so as long as our opponent isn't playing a super aggressive deck, we should be fine. And we do draw our third land, which is important because that means we will be able to get to Mystic Forge. So that is good. Mystic Forge is just a value engine. It kind of just keeps letting you essentially draw cards. Now, I think what I'm going to do here next turn is play Mind Stone, so then the next turn I can play Mystic Forge, and then I'll be able to play my my Maze Mind Tome after that. But I think I'm going to play Maze Mind Tome instead, just because at the moment, ramping into Mystic Forge really isn't going to do too much. And honestly, maybe I should have just played... Yeah, honestly, I think I just made a misplay, but whatever. They play Cultivate. So at this point, what am I hoping for? I'm kind of just hoping for a mid-range planeswalker, so something like Karn that can turn our Maze Mind Tome into a creature, or something along those lines, or something that we can actually cast. Maybe another Mind Stone would be nice, or some ramp. Ooh, there is a 4-cost. Okay, Golos, not really. I mean, he can ramp us a little bit, but we're far off. That's what I wanted. So next turn, we'll be able to play that. If I would have played the Maze Mind Tome, I guess I wouldn't have pulled it this turn because I wouldn't have scryed it to the bottom, but whatever. So next turn, play Hedron Archive. It'll leave us at 3 mana, which is kind of unfortunate, but that's enough to activate the Maze Mind Tome to actually draw a card, so I think that's probably what I'm going to end up doing. It looks like my opponent's developing their board nicely, and they are with that Anointed Procession, but they really, at this point, only have 3 1/1s. And none of them are worth like a removal spell, even if I had it. So at this point, I'm like, well, I have this Mind Stone. But so what I can do is I can play Hedron Archive into Mind Stone, and then I'll have the 2 mana left I need to activate the Maze Mind Tome. And then we're going to have a decent amount of mana. We're going to have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we have 8 mana. And next turn we'll be able to play a land. So we'll be at 9 mana next turn. And so we're really close to just hard casting Ulamog without a Forsaken Monument. But then they play Champion of Lambbolt, which is terrifying in this token deck because, well, he has this land, which I should feel the ruin, probably. Because if he activates that, he'll get 2 tokens, which will then boost up his 1/1. But luckily we get the Forsaken Monument, which allows us to both play this, gain life, which will help us kind of stay alive while they're absolutely attacking us. So yeah, it looks like next turn I will be able to play Ulamog, which is good, obviously. I'm going to play Mystic Forge just because maybe there's something on the top of our library which can get rid of the champion. No, it's just a land, which is unfortunate. But we'll be able to play Palladium Mirror, which is a 4/4 that taps for 3. That's pretty good. I'm unfortunately gonna, I think, have to let this Colorless float away, which really sucks. But yeah, Forsaken Monument can do a lot of work, especially with things like Mystic Forge. For instance, things like Mind Stone are now like equal mana. Like you pay 2 mana and then it taps for 2 mana. And if you have something like Ugin out who's going to make Mind Stone cost 0, then that becomes like a ramp spell on the turn you play it. So there's a lot of crazy little combos you can do. So if you get Ugin, Mystic Forge, and Forsaken Sanctuary out, there's a high chance that you can just like throw the top of your library just on the battlefield. Like, I know that sounds ridiculous, but here, you know, everything's unblockable. We are going to cast Ulamog and target the champion and Anointed Procession. Now, we do get the life from Radiant Fountain. Unfortunately, there's a land on top of our library. But as long as we can keep casting spells, we should be able to stay alive. So I get to exile their exile their 2 things. That absolutely sucks. So they have Heroic Intervention, which basically just means that, you know, they get to protect all their stuff from the Ulamog. Now, I do get a giant creature, which is really nice, but they're playing a Swarmy deck, so it doesn't really matter. I do crack the Maze Mind Tome to both scry the land off the top and to gain some life. And then I'm just like, I need something I can do here. I still have a lot of mana, but all I keep running into is more Zephlin Voids or stuff. So I think I'm going to play that, obviously, and then I'm going to try and, you know, get rid of the top card, which is really dangerous right now, you know, with so many creatures on the board. Now, I should, what I should do here, oh, yeah. Yeah. That's one thing I wanted to talk about, and I actually thought about making a video about it, is that the MTG Arena auto tapper kind of sucks with, like, Forsaken Monument. It wanted to tap my creature. Now, my creature can't block, so maybe that was valid, but why would you tap the creature when you can just activate, you know, your artifacts? Either way, that just means I need to be a little bit more careful with how I'm tapping. Either way, again, as long as I survive this turn, I essentially win the game. Why? Because they're a token swarm deck that's relying on this Champion of Lamholt and Anointed Procession, and there's an Ugin on top of my deck. So as long as they don't mill me in some way, you know, there are green cards that do that, or kill me on this swing, I can play him minus, I think, 4? Is Anointed Procession a 4? I believe, yeah, it's a 4. And I can just win the game. So it looks like they're not going to be able to kill me because they don't swing with Champion. Obviously, they wouldn't be able to kill me even with Champion, but so it looks like I get to win the game. Now, there's an Ugin on top, so I'm going to play this for 2 reasons. First, if they have some sort of interaction, somehow, like, I don't know, some weird spell that I'm not thinking of, I kind of want them to use it on this Ugin, but also it makes the other Ugin easier to cast, so you can get them both out. It feels really good tapping 3 lands for this Ugin, and he just concedes on the spot, which is really awesome. Didn't really want to play that out. So, yep, why don't we play another game? So here we're starting to see some graphical glitches in MTG Arena, it looks like. Garuda is humongous. There's no text on that card. Over there, our life totals are, you know, huge, and the timers, I have apparently XO, and that looks ridiculous. All right. So, there are, you know, MTG Arena is completely fine right now. Don't worry about it. So it looks like, you know, the 2 Forsaken Monuments kind of sucks unless, I mean, they are playing maybe a more control-y deck, you know, in Simic. I guess this isn't Simic. I don't know. They look like they're kind of playing a control-y deck. Blue, white, they have, and blue, white, green. Those all really have ways of dealing with my, stuff. Also, that Ugin is kind of cursed, not gonna lie. So we get to play Karn, which can let us go tutor for something. Oh, geez. I don't know what I want. So the sideboard here is full of fun little tricks. If we were playing in you know, companion times, I would get the Grafdigger's Cage. I considered Spark Hunter Master Core because there's a high chance they're playing that kind of stuff. But I think the best bet's probably going to be Sorcerer's Spyglass or Grafdigger's Cage, because actually, yeah, I think Grafdigger's Cage is better because what Garuda does. Garuda is going to return creatures from the graveyard. So yes, he can still cast Garuda, but he won't be able to, creatures can't enter the battlefield from graveyards or libraries. So yeah, that's good. So we have the option here to, either Karn or Forsaken Monument or Grafdigger's Cage. Now, I'm not too worried about Grafdigger's Cage. I also don't know why I turned it into a 4/4. Also, it should be a 2/2, but then Forsaken Monument boosted up. That's pretty awesome. Nice synergy there. He concedes after realizing that I can just swing at him with my artifacts. And then victory. Apparently that was a small victory. So yeah, we jump into this next game. We have a decent amount of ramp with Guardian Idol and Mindstone, and we also have both Karns, both of which work really well. First off, the, Dominaria Karn is really nice. It has that minus ability, which normally isn't why he's played. He's normally just played for the card draw and card selection, but yeah, pretty awesome. Here, I should probably play the Guardian Idol and Bonder's Enclave. Yeah, because obviously I don't need the mana this turn, so the fact that it enters tapped doesn't really matter. Next turn, I have the option between playing a Karn and playing Mindstone, and I can't do both, unfortunately. Looking at his deck, we have a giant E in the upper left. What? Is that it's probably the text from, discard or whatever. So ever since I ran into the Companion, it looks like it is doing this. So yeah, don't play with Companions unless you want your graphics to be messed up. I mean, they're already messed up. The Saga doesn't have its types over there. Karn doesn't have a name. Again, what should I get? I don't know why I keep doing this. I'm thinking, they look like they're playing a Selesnya something deck. But it probably has blue. It's probably a little more control-y. So maybe I go Grafdigger's Cage just expecting Uro. Maybe I go Spark Hunter Masticore or Shadow Spear. Honestly, I think Sorcerer Spyglass is the best pick here. We can kind of just see what their deck wants to do. And if they do happen to have something in their hand, we can deal with it. So, yeah, I guess we're going to wait. So it looks like they're just Selesnya at this point. Doesn't look like they have any blue. Probably Selesnya Angels? Maybe Selesnya Life Gain? I mean, the Birth of Meletis does have Life Gain. It also has random blockers and ramp. Not ramp. Kind of a card draw effect, I guess. I don't know. So what I think I should probably do is cast Mindstone into Hedron Archive into Sorcerer Spyglass. I could technically do that if I wanted. And I think that's probably the best play. Just because it does get out so much ramp for the future, and it lets us kind of look into his hand and see what's going to be coming up. Honestly, okay. Yeah, kind of glad I did this. Obviously, I could always have done this later, but getting to see that... Honestly, there could have been an argument for Shalai there, but honestly, Shalai's probably going to get some removal to her face. Maybe a Meteor Golem from Karn. Which of these do I want? We can do Guardian. Why did I just do that? I kind of forgot that you can just not select something because now my ramp is subject to removal. Now obviously they didn't have removal, so unless that one card they just drew was removal, there's nothing I have to super be worried about. But they play Shalai, which looks like legendaries don't have names anymore. Kind of weird. We can manage to let Karn survive, so it's going to get, I won't be able to, get Meteor Golem with it anymore, but I can choose to either Golos or Karn. Wow, everything's broken. City's Blessing doesn't have text. Everything's... MTG Arena really messed up this update. I just really want Forsaken Monument or some way to draw cards. I want a Mystic Forge or whatever, the one that lets me look at the top. I guess what I can do is I can play Golos, and I can maybe tutor for a land that'll help me. Maybe one that removes things from combat. That Maze of Scophos or whatever. Or I could do a Blast Zone to deal with things. They do have two different CMCs. I could do Mobilized District, but honestly, I think Labyrinth is going to be the best bet here. Unfortunately, it enters the battlefield tapped, so I won't be able to save Karn again. So that sucks, but maybe... Alright, so their Nissa is essentially a dead card in their hand, which means all we know in their hand is one land and a Cultivate. It kind of sucks that they have Hexproof. Honestly, this game does not look like it's going to go well for us. We need an Ugin. That's like what we can draw to do, to win. So if you'll notice, we have 6 lands plus 1 from Guardian Idol. That's 7, 8, 9, 10. So we do have both Ulamog and Ugin mana. Now, Ulamog would be nice, so would Ugin. Ulamog would let us get rid of Bertha Meletis and Shalai, which would then open up the Angel to removal. Honestly, I don't really see that happening, though. I mean, I guess I think Ulamog's a 1-of in the deck, and Ugin is, I think, a 2, 3? I don't know. I guess it's not. It's 4 cards out of my remaining deck. But, yeah. I should just mess around a little bit. No, actually, let's just move on. Okay, so we get more ramp. I think I need to play Karn. Honestly, I don't know what could happen here. The only thing I can think of is that I get double Ugins. Because if I were to get double Ugins, he would have to give me one. So we get Blast Zone and Maze Mine Tome. Now, looking at his position, I would give me Maze Mine Tome if I was given this choice, just because Blast Zone can get through that hexproof and or remove that hexproof. So yeah, he does that. But luckily, I mean, Maze Mine Tome isn't awful. It lets us scry around a little bit. Maybe get to our Ugin faster. And if I play it this turn, I will have the mana to play it, play the Guardian Idol, and scry if I wanted. But I think it's probably more important to protect Karn. So I'm going to leave up the mana for Labyrinth. So yeah, let's see what happens. What other horrible thing? Oh, I kind of forgot it had that ability, and the fact that I can't interact with it. I mean, I couldn't interact with it if it didn't have hexproof, except for the fact that I could remove it from combat. But I'm able to kind of prevent the damage to Karn. I think, are they going to swing at Karn, or do they realize that and they don't want to swing both things at Karn? Or do they just want him dead? So it looks like they're going to go for the kill. I'm going to obviously remove Shalai from combat. So he's going to survive with 1, which essentially means that we can +1 right away. Now, maybe I should have Maze Mine Tome first. Oh, no. Okay, so we got an Ugin, which would be amazing, except here's the thing. He's going to give us the mirror. There's no way he gives us the Ugin. It could be literally any card. It could be Ulamog, and he'd rather give us the Ulamog, right? So, is there any way I can have Karn survive? Because if Karn survives, I can -1 to go get that. But none of my things have flying. I can remove his Shalai from combat, but I need something to block the 2 angels. I guess... Yeah, this really sucks. I'm able to kind of unload my hand, but there's no way Karn survives, which means there's no way we're getting that Ugin, which means our deck has 1 less Ugin in it. And the thing is, if I wouldn't have Karned there, I bet you I would have just drawn into it naturally. It would have taken a little bit, but with Maze Mine Tome, it wouldn't have taken that long, and then I could have just played it in 1. So Karn kind of killed me there. Now, I guess, I think Karn's a 1-of in the deck. No, I think he's a 2-of. I don't remember. I really hope he's a 2-of and I can get another one. Or we get the other Karn, because the other Karn can -2. Oh no, he can only -2 to get artifacts. Darn it. Alright, this is probably our death unless we can manage to pull another Ugin. I should probably Maze Mine Tome. Okay, I'm trying to think, what cards could I pull and it would turn this game around? The only ones I can think of are like Ugin and we're just drawing lands. So that's great. We're gonna just start drawing cards, I think, and hoping to pull an Ugin. So let's do this. We should probably Maze Mind Tome. Now, the argument of, like, drawing a card... Oh. Do I have enough mana if I crack? Because this is my only way of drawing a card. Oh, yes, because of the Palladium Mirrors, I have enough mana, which means I think I win. Alright, so Ugin comes in with messed up font, and I think saves the day. We're going to -4, and it's just going to exile his whole board, and we win the game. Alright guys, that's going to do it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Again, if you liked the decks, there's a link, or the deck, there's a link in the description where you can check out the deck list. If you want to see more awesome content like this, hit that like button, subscribe. I will see you in the next one. Bye.